Speaker, that has led to age-old conflicts between countries. As we speak, most of Africa are border conflicts. The conflict between Eritrea and Ethiopia, Cameroon and Nigeria, Gabon and Equatorial Guinea, Burkina Faso and Niger, Benin and Niger, Kenya and Uganda. Mr. Speaker, I can go on and on and on. Only recently, our own 10 deepwater oil exploration after the discovery of oil was delayed for several years because Ivory Coast made a claim that because of the, if you like, unclear delineations, some of the oil discovery that Ghana had made after long years of investing in seismic data and exploration, the Ivorians made a claim to portions of that. Mr. Speaker, that could easily have plunged us into war if it had not taken the mature leadership of both countries and the resolve to address the dispute through ICLOS. And Mr. Speaker, we know that eventually ICLOS decided in our favor. But Mr. Speaker, we don't have to wait for a similar situation. We all know that significant prospects now exist in the Voltaigne Basin, and we currently have similar challenges with Togo. There are portions of our country that the Togolese are claiming, and vice versa, because of the hurriedly organized demarcations by the colonialists, the French, the British, the Germans. So, Mr. Speaker, this convention, if ratified by the House, will be a proactive move to make sure that this is documented, is deposited at the African Union, is recognized internationally, and when we make any discoveries, whether it's oil, whether it's bauxite, whether it's gold, it's lithium, what have you, we know that these are the territories, they all belong to us, and we can proceed to develop them, to exploit them without any dispute. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very, very important convention. I cannot overemphasize the importance. And that is why at the Committee of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Speaker, we all unanimously supported this convention. We commended the Ghana Boundaries Commission, led by that outstanding General Kotia, who has done tremendous work in putting this together. Mr. Speaker, we are told that a number of African countries have gone ahead of us to ratify this. In the sub-region, it will appear that we are virtually last in ratifying this Niamey Convention. And it is a matter of urgency. I want to commend leadership for bringing it up very quickly in this third session of the House. And I hope that our colleagues will support us, will help us to develop our own resources, to own them. It will help to prevent disputes. It will help to even protect our territorial integrity so that all of this extremism going on and terrorists who seek to annex certain parts of the sub-region, we can be ahead of the curve and make sure that we are well protected and our security services also are given the full authority after this convention to ensure that our territorial integrity is intact. On that note, Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by urging the government to support the Ghana Boundaries Commission it emerged during the consideration of this convention that they don't have accommodation of their own, and they are spending so much on rent, 5 million Ghana cedis a year. I'm glad that the Honorable Deputy Minister is here. Fortunately, the Honorable Deputy Minister for Lands was also with us, Honorable Bio, and they promised that they will do well to provide some accommodation, some state housing for the Ghana Boundaries Commission. It is an urgent matter, and it's a very sensitive work they do. They have a number of equipment for surveillance, CCTV and other equipment which I must not disclose here. But these are not equipment that should be in rented property. So I want to appeal to the ministers. They made a pledge, Lands and Foreign Affairs, that they will expedite action so that the Boundaries Commission can be moved into their own property owned by the state that will be safe and free from any interference. So, Mr. Speaker, that is the only matter I want to add, which has not been resolved, that I want to place on record so that the honorable ministers who have pledged to us at committee to resolve that outstanding lack of accommodation issue, they do well to address that so that we can also save money, Mr. Speaker. Paying 5 million cedis annually is not a good investment. This is a commission that is still renting some of the equipment that they need. That money can go to them and they can use it to buy equipment to protect us and to make sure that we are safe, particularly in this era of see something, say something, where we are on high alert to prevent violent extremism and terrorism from getting close to our borders. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I urge honorable colleagues to support this Niamey Convention, and I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, honorable leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking from your seat, and indulge me to do so, to speak to the adoption of the convention referred to as the Niamey Convention. And Mr. Speaker, in doing so, to refer you to page 9 of your committee's report, and the chairman and ranking member of the committee probably will have to consider making some corrections. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 8, options and impacts considered. Then they say 1, ratifying the Niamey Convention in accordance with Article 17 of the Convention. Mr. Speaker, we don't belong here. We are exercising a mandate pursuant to Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. Then, Mr. Speaker, when you come to the conclusion, paragraph 14, it reads, undoubtedly, the committee recognizes the benefits Ghana stands to gain from the ratification of the Commission. Then it reads, the Convention once ratified by Parliament. No, this House must be invited by the committee's report that this report be adopted for the ratification of the Convention in accordance with Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. So that should be the recommendation to this House. Niamey Convention 17 is to guide a decision that the African heads of state took. So we are guided by that. But at least in this report, you must be making an application to this House to adopt this report, ratify the convention in accordance with Article 75. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you want, I'm sure Hansard will capture it. The President may execute or cause to execute a treaties, agreement, or conventions in the name of Ghana. So we assume that the President has done that. Then a treaty, agreement, or convention executed by or under the authority of the President shall be subject to ratification by an act of Parliament. This is what we have been asked to do, and it should be captured expressly in the committee's report, that this House adopts this report. So, Mr. Speaker, forgive me that I have to assume your chair. There was whether I should take over from Honorable Collins Dowda or not. And I've told them that Honorable Collins Dowda is senior by age, senior even to this House. I would not fit into his chair as somebody who is well trained from home. So any other chair, Mr. Speaker, acceptable to me. I'm still the elected member of Parliament for Tamale South. I thank you.
Honorable, you move the motion.
I stood in for the.
Don't
the
worry,
chair of
you
the
will
committee.
conclude. So
Yeah.
let others talk, then you can conclude. The men have spoken. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the motion to adopt the report on the Committee on Foreign Affairs on the African Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation, specifically the Niamey Convention.
Other members, order, please.
Mr. Speaker, of particular interest to me is the point number 4 on page 10, which makes reference to the promotion of free movement of goods and people and to facilitate trade. Mr. Speaker, as a member of the Defense and Interior Committee, my big concern with this constant issue with regards to the free movement of goods and persons is one that really hinders on our national security. Indeed, the porous borders that we complain of is an African condition which was historically imposed. But, Mr. Speaker, as we keep on signing, various treaties and conventions that are relating to the free movement of persons and goods, my concern is what checks and balances that we have in place to ensure that our national interest and our national security are protected in spite of our willingness to promote free movement across